Hello, word enthusiasts, and welcome back to Hello Word. I'm your host, Alex, and I'm thrilled to have you join me for another linguistic adventure. Today, we're diving into a fascinating word, bound. Our word, bound, is a B2 level adjective that means tied or heading towards. It's a versatile word with several nuances, so let's unravel them together. First, let's get clear on the definition. Bound can mean physically tied up, like the prisoner was bound and gagged. But more commonly, it describes being obligated or destined to do something. Think of it as being on a path with a predetermined destination. You might hear, "She is bound to succeed with her talent and dedication." Now, let's explore some synonyms that capture the different shades of meaning of bound. One synonym is tied. For instance, instead of saying the package was bound with string, you could say the package was tied with string. Another synonym, especially when referring to obligation, is obliged. For example, I am obliged to help my neighbor is similar to saying I am bound to help my neighbor. Another great synonym is destined. When bound implies a future outcome, destined works well. They are destined to be together is a beautiful way of saying their relationship is predetermined. We can also use the word certain. It is certain to rain later expresses the same idea as saying it is bound to rain later. Lastly, consider fated. He was fated to become a great leader suggests an unavoidable future, similar to he was bound to become a great leader. Let's see these synonyms in action. The hikers were tied together for safety. I felt obliged to accept their generous offer. She was destined for greatness from a young age. Rain is certain this afternoon, so bring an umbrella. They were fated to meet, despite the odds. Now, let's flip the coin and explore antonyms. These words will give you a sense of what bound is not. An antonym for bound, when it means physically tied, is free. Instead of the prisoner was bound, we could say the prisoner was free. Another antonym, especially when it comes to obligation, is unobliged. I felt unobliged to attend the meeting means you weren't compelled to go. Another contrasting word is exempt. He was exempt from military service implies he wasn't bound by that requirement. Loose is another antonym, especially in the context of physical constraint. The dog was loose in the park is the opposite of saying the dog was bound. Finally, consider optional. Attendance is optional means you are not bound to attend. Let's use these antonyms in sentences. The birds were free from their cages. I felt unobliged to accept their invitation. She was exempt from paying taxes due to her disability. The rope was loose, allowing him to move easily. Participation in the survey is optional. Now, let's see how bound shows up in everyday life. You might hear someone say, "I'm bound to be late," meaning they expect to be late. A common phrase is bound for glory, suggesting someone is on track for great success. You can also use bound in expressions like bound by duty, indicating an obligation to do something. Furthermore, someone might say, "We are bound together by friendship," to express the strength of their bond. It can also describe a physical movement, as in he ran with a bound, meaning a large jump. Some more sentence examples are, the company is legally bound by the contract. The ship is bound for London. She feels bound to her family by a sense of loyalty. He was bound and determined to finish the project. They are bound by tradition to celebrate the festival. The book was beautifully bound in leather. I'm bound to say, that was an excellent performance. The children were bound with excitement before the trip. The country is bound to face economic challenges. Her future is bound up with the success of this project. To recap, bound is a B2 level adjective with several meanings, including tied or obligated. We explored synonyms like tied, obliged, destined, certain, and fated. We also uncovered antonyms such as free, unobliged, exempt, loose, and optional. We saw how bound is used in common phrases and everyday conversations. Thank you for joining me on this word exploration. Before we wrap up, I have a small favor to ask. If you enjoyed this episode of Hello Word, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support helps others discover our show and expand their vocabulary too. And now, your challenge. Create your own sentence using the word bound and share it in the comments section below. I can't wait to see what you come up with. Until next time, keep exploring the wonderful world of words.